What's vibes, y'all? Good morning. It's a new day. I'm excited because today I'm gonna go shoot with Ace from Love Island. The reunion was yesterday too, so like we're gonna get his real, raw, authentic thoughts. I'm excited. They told me he's already there, so I gotta run. But we on the way, Ace. Let's do it. Shout out to my good brother Ish for giving me a ride. He pulled up. He about to help us out with it. We are 14 minutes away from set. I ain't gonna lie though, I am type tired. Like, I woke up and had to pop it. Damn, I gotta stop it. I paid for it. If you know, you know. All right, we just got in the spot. Ish, how you feel?
Feeling good. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. First of all, great outfit.
I noticed it.
What's going on, guys? I'm Speedy, and today I am joined by the ringleader himself.
Man, what's up, y'all?
Ace is in the building. What's up, bro? How are you?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm finally decided I can do some interviews of my own. You know, I know a lot of people have been popping it, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to really get to the bottom of shit around here. So.
I feel like you haven't done an interview yet. Like, I've seen you do like little one-off things, right? Like you did like a Vanity Fair with a bunch of Islanders. You did like some GQ shit. And when you came out the villa, you and Chelley did like some Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
But you haven't yet like sat down with somebody
Yeah.
and spoke. Why? Why is that the case?
For me, it was important that I didn't do another interview before coming to you. I know a lot of people had a lot to say instead of seeing through a lot for what was showing. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to take my time, come out the villa, enjoy my time with family because I haven't seen them for a while, spend time with friends, and obviously spend time with Chelley because for me, going on to the show was about finding love, not finding clout.
Right.
And I felt like a lot of people, when they came out, it was about taking advantage of their 15 minutes of fame. And respectfully, I ain't show up for that.
I like that. I mean, look, I think you were definitely a little more intentional with your rollout post-show, right? Like, we saw content on your own terms. Like, you dropped like a little vlog thing at an amusement park, you dropped like a little freestyle, you dropped, but it was like here and there, whereas it seemed like a lot of people were on live every night, a lot of people were like on every podcast and excited about it. And so I do respect the way you went about it, and I'm honored that you would come here.
Nah, man, I'm honored, man. Like you've been a real model for me, even just, you know, before the villa. I used to watch your content, man, and you really get to the nitty gritty of questions, and I respect your journalism for real.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate those words.
Yeah.
But now you're here, and now we're about to do it.
Shit, man, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it's funny because you and I knew that we were doing this, but we ran into each other at a concert.
Yeah.
And like somebody, some way, somehow caught a picture of us.
Yeah.
And then it kind of hit Twitter, and I won't say it went crazy, but you know, it kind of made some rounds.
Yeah.
Did you see that picture?
Yeah. It's funny because like usually I'm not used to that. Like going to a place and somebody's taking a little sneak picture behind the scenes and stuff like that. But you know, I think it just alluded to the fact that we was gonna be on this couch some point in time. You know?
And it happened.
Yeah.
They didn't know it was gonna happen. We knew.
Yeah.
But it was just funny, like that it happened in that way.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the show specifically and your time on it, I want to talk about who you are.
Yeah.
So your name is Ace, but you also have your own name tatted on your back.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching the show, I was like, why does he have his own name tatted? What?
Yeah, man. So Ace has always been a lifelong nickname.
Oh, it's a nickname. Okay.
It's a nickname, and my mom was going to name me that at birth, but you know, things happen, and for me, it holds sentimental value. I go by Ace, and I make sure that's important for people to know is Ace.
Ace is what your name is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people knew you prior to Love Island because of your large presence on social media. What was it like to come in to the show already having a community behind you? Because like when they dropped it, like, oh, here's the Love Island cast.
Yeah.
Honestly and transparently, the only face that was familiar to me was yours.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Honestly, bro, what I'm grateful for is the community that I've, built and God has helped me build throughout this entire time in my journey. With the dancing and teaching people how to dance. Like, people think I'm just some sort of dance teacher, which is surface level, but for me, I just use my gifts to spread love and spread positivity. And that's what I built my following off of, is just, spreading peace, because that's what I stand for.
Because you came into the villa with such a big following already, do you think there's a world in which your intentions were different from other people's intentions going into the show?
Oh, Lord, yeah, for sure. Like, going into this villa, you know, my intentions was to get to know someone through and through for them. I didn't want to ask nobody about no social media aspect of it. And when I felt like going into this villa and people were asking me, yo, what is your following? What's your following this? And what do you think is gonna be outside of this? I don't feel people are there for genuine intentions, respectfully. And, you know, coming from a person who has all the things, has the quote unquote, you know, following, has the, you know, I'm doing well for myself, and so I'm not pressed over a prize. But when I'm hearing people in those conversations, it doesn't seem genuine to me, especially when, again, I have those things, so that's not my main focus in this villa.
The reunion
Yeah.
came out yesterday.
Yeah.
When they see this, it'll probably be 2 days ago. But what are your thoughts on the reunion? Just surface level. Were you excited to go do it? Did you not want to do it? What were your thoughts on how you were portrayed throughout it?
Honestly, I didn't want to do the reunion, you know, but the only thing I wanted to do was, you know, look at people in their face and tell them my issues I have with them, clear some things up, and really stand on business. Throughout the entire time at the reunion, I feel like things still didn't, you know, make the cut of, you know, certain conversations that I had, clarification, and that is what it is. But honestly, bro, just being at the reunion, it was a little bit hard for me because, you know, I face, you know, anxiety, you know, especially being out inside the villa, and, you know, people are like, oh, why is his voice a little shaky? Because honestly, bro, it's hard, like, dealing with it. Like, I felt some sort of depression, like, coming out, because I'm such a positive person. I'm such a happy, you know, loving person that I try and spread that to everybody else, and to see that I was portrayed as something, as the opposite of who I am as a person, is tough to deal with, you know? And that was my only fear going into this villa was, please just don't make me look like I'm just some evil ass nigga, respectfully. And
Do you feel like that's exactly what happened?
honestly, yeah, you know? And it's okay, because at the end of the day, I know who I was, and the Islanders who were there knew who I was too. And then to come home and see I was called everything but the child of God, it's a little tough, you know?
Sure.
But for me, I said the things I needed to say to certain people while everybody was in one room at the reunion. That's what I cared about. It wasn't for how the reunion was gonna be portrayed. Here is where I really get my shit off, and really what I say is what I say, and what I meant is what I meant, and ain't gonna be no chopped and screw shit around here.
Well, here's your opportunity to be real. Let's talk about your time in the villa.
Right.
Day one of the show, if I'm remembering correctly, you walk in with Nick. You're wearing a suit, like you was like tailored up.
Yeah.
What do you remember about day one walking into the villa? Were you nervous, excited?
Going into this villa, you know, I'm seeing a bunch of beautiful women here. I'm like, okay, you know, these women are here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. Let's truly get to know somebody for them. You know, regardless if 1,000 cameras are looking at us, I want to get to know somebody. So that's what my intent was going into this villa, and really just deep dive into people, because I'm a people person. Like, I love getting to know people and why they were raised the way they were raised, the trauma that they had in 5th grade. I want to know it all.
And so you walk out, you see Chelley for the very first time.
Yeah.
You guys kind of cleared it up on the reunion, but you guys knew each other kind of in passing. Like, you may have met once or twice, and then exchanged each other on social media, but you never really knew each other for real.
Right. So basically, let me explain the story with that. It's like, we had met through social media type of thing, but don't nobody really know anybody through social media. So boom, she's outside the club. I recognize her from social media. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, how you feeling? Like, you know what I mean? Let's chop it up with her real quick. And, you know, I got the number, or not the number, but I got the Instagram and shit like that. I was like, yo, nice to meet you. I hope to see you again type of thing. Boom, time goes on. You know, she'll post a picture, I'll slide up on the story with a hard eyes. You know, she'll post something, I'll comment on it, or just to be funny, I'll go comment on something from 2-3 years ago, some shit like that, just to, you know, fake flirt. But obviously it wasn't gonna work. She was in Florida, or New York, whatever she was. I was in LA. It is what it is, you know? So just to walk in there and see her, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, we here at the same time. Like, and it's crazy because we done both went through a bunch of interviews. We done went through the Zoom calls, all that shit. Like, being that that's the case, I know for a fact when I see her, I was like, oh, I already know the internet gonna have something to say, like outside of shit. Like, oh, I already follow her. I already know I'm on all of her comments and shit like that. I'm like, I already know how Love Island fans get, like being super adamant on trying to, FBI some shit, but I was ready for it.
In the beginning, the first couple of days, what did you notice about the interactions that the guys were having with the girls? Were they pulling girls for chats, or was it kind of like reserved? Like, what was the energy?
For me, I was in there hooping, respectfully. Like, I was up there putting numbers, getting to know everybody, and the girls were complaining to me. They came up to me talking about yo, Ace, the guys ain't pulling us for chats, the guys ain't, stepping it up and shit like that. And that's when I had encouraged all the dudes, like, yo, get to know everybody, explore. Like, the girls are saying, like, y'all ain't doing enough, like, y'all need to step it up. And then, I remember when I was the person to be kissed the most at the first round, they was like, yo, all the fellas was like, yo, Ace, you group leader this, group leader that. And I'm like, yo, chill, you know what I mean? Chill. You feel what I mean? It's like, okay, I understand the whole group leadership, but it's like, it's not that. Like, I want everybody to get this full experience throughout this, entire time in the villa. So when the girls told me that, that's when I, implemented the whole explore thing and get everybody going.
Got you. So it's really thanks to you that like the men started kind of getting in there with the ladies. Before that it was interesting. Yeah. So then you couple up with Amaya. One of the first conversations you have after that is like, hey, just to let you know, transparently, I'm still gonna explore my other connections. I encourage you to do the same. Yeah. Amaya's initial reaction was like, yo, you could have said that to me tomorrow. It's giving player vibes. Yeah. What did you feel when she said that?
First things first, let me just say I love Amaya, and I see that she wears her emotions on her sleeve. What a lot of people didn't get to see within our very first conversation, she had expressed some of the traumatic experiences she's dealt within relationships. And of course I want to be there for her and lend my shoulder to her to, cry. Obviously she's a sensitive gangster and everybody loves her being a sensitive gangster, but it's a lot for me to take on at once because at the end of the day, I'm still trying to find love. I'm still trying to find a romantic partner. And I'm looking at a person who's going through the healing process of putting herself out there as well. So being that that's the case, I just wanted to make things clear to her because we're about to sleep in a bed together, respectfully. Right. You know what I mean? Like, Love Island is Love Island, but to me, I'm gonna be Ace until the day I die. So I don't care if we on Love Island. I wanna make sure ground rules are set so that way you don't cross a boundary and I don't cross your boundary, so we don't even go down that route. And what they didn't get to see is the conversation that we talked about regarding those traumatic experiences. Every time she's cried through our conversations, they copied and pasted the clip of her crying to me telling her about my boundaries. It wasn't about the conversation that we did have. And it sucks that people didn't get to see that because, I really was trying to get to understand where she was coming from. And, for me, opening up is hard. And so I wanted to, express how the emotional trauma I went through, you know what I mean? But it takes me a little bit to get there. Sure. So that was the whole thing regarding that.
You said, you kind of didn't feel comfortable with her calling you babe in affectionate terms like that so early. Were you the only one in the villa that had concerns about her using those terms of endearment, or maybe did other people in the villa also feel the same?
Regarding the terms of endearment thing, I grew up in LA, so everybody calls each other babe or what's up, and half of my family is Mexican, so like I grew up in Latin culture, so the whole idea of babe wasn't a problem for me. I feel like it was her trying to mark territory at that moment in time to be like, oh, this is my babe type of thing. So I'm able to tell the difference. I feel like with other people, they felt the exact same way, that she was coming on a little bit strong amongst getting to know her. And for me, I was very apparent on making it clear to her, this is my boundary and this is how I feel. Other people didn't do the same.
Got it.
And
so
that's
they may
why
have felt the same, but they just didn't
voice that. You know what I mean? And to me, I feel like that's fake as hell. Like, if you gonna feel some type of way, you gonna tell all the fellas that you're not feeling this and you're not rocking with this and this is just not your cup of tea. But she's out here trying to put her best foot forward and get to know you, and you're not doing the same. I can't respect that. You know what I mean? So I love Amaya and all power to her for pushing through amongst all the relationships that she's explored throughout the villa. It's just, it sucks that, dudes don't have the heart to just be honest with a woman.
Sure. it seemed on the show, and you kind of addressed it, that one of the people that you felt was like that was Austin.
For sure.
That like he would express to the fellas like, yo, I'm not really rocking with her like that.
Yeah.
But then to her wouldn't hold that same energy. Is that the case?
Like, see, my issue with Austin is like, he doesn't just be real about his answers and what he's feeling. And for me, as a man, I can respect that. And it's funny because, you know, people are like, yo, Ace, do you have beef with Austin, yada, yada, yada. In the villa, it wasn't no quote unquote beef, because after every interaction that we would have, and it wasn't a positive one, he would come up to me, yo, I just want to say, bro, I respect you, we all good, like, just, it's never that deep, it's never yada, yada, yada. But then, you know, you sneak dissing on the internet, you know, like a bitch. Like, that shit that's not me. I'm not an internet ass nigga. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you on the internet. So I'm gonna see you in person, and let's see if you keep the same energy. At the reunion, it was not the same energy.
Did you see some like sneak comments on the internet?
Yeah.
Was he saying things, or what was the
and even at the villa, like, it would be a conversation, and it's the most funniest thing in the world. Like, we go back and forth, and he's talking about some, yo, Ace, how do you feel? So-and-so's coming back, and he's 6'8", he's 6'5", or yada, yada, yada. So that's when the whole stand on business comment, we had talked earlier in that day about the whole height thing. And that's what I had told him. I was like, yo, like, you 6'5", and I'm 5'10", how you just don't have the big enough heart to just say what you want to say? Like,
so there was, okay, because that, and we'll talk about that moment later, but that's a prime example of a moment to me feeling like, why is Ace talking about his height right now? Is he trying to, like, maybe he's insecure about his height, or is he asserting some sort of dominance?
Yeah.
It felt like out the blue, you say, I'm 5'10".
Right,
So like,
again,
but there was some context behind it.
It was some context behind that, you know what I mean? And again, not everything gets shown. Why everything don't get shown, I don't understand, but you know, that's TV at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk more about the Stand Up Business Challenge in a bit, but I want to finish up with the Amaya stuff for a sec.
Yeah.
People honestly felt like you bullied Amaya. When you came out of the villa and saw that, also having gone through the interactions that you went with her in real life, was it weird to you to feel like, wait, bullying her, like that didn't match up at all to what our actual experience was? Or do you feel like you were bullying her?
See, coming out the villa and watching the show for the very first time, I could see how that can get misconstrued of me being bullied. But if you watch it for actually what it is, I never once raised my voice with Amaya. I was very clear and concise on how I was feeling. And me just stating my boundary, I don't see how that can be taken as me bullying. Now, quote unquote, I seen some of the clips to where they're taking out of context and copy and pasting into different parts to where it can make it seem like I'm talking about her. That's not the case. Like, and I've been very clear with Amaya, and it sucks that people didn't get to see a friendship that we built, because after maybe about 6-7 days after the whole Babe incident, we were cool. Like, we didn't both apologized to each other and both said, look, I'm sorry for the way I came off because this wasn't my intent. She was like, look, I'm sorry for the way this came off because that wasn't my intent. When we were able to build up a great friendship, and to come out the villa and see her, you know, taking part of, you know, pushing the narrative that we weren't cool, or like, you know, taking part of the quote unquote bullying, like, don't get me wrong, I don't like to go back and forth with women. Like, that's, for me, that's sassy as hell. But I will state my piece, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, you know? And being that I seen that video, I was just like, yo, I just seen you the day prior to you making this video, and it was cool, like, it was no problems. So just to come out and see that, it hurt my feelings, because, you know, I look at her as like a sister, and we're neutral now. Like, there's no beef, and it's still never gonna be no beef on my end. And I know it's not on her end because we chopped it up already, but it just hurt my feelings just to see that, you know?
As the story goes, you guys have this pucker or pie challenge. Sierra, I thought was interesting, was asked, like, who is here for clout over love? And she said, Ace.
That's rich coming from her, respectfully.
Why do you say that?
Because it's like, I feel like ever since she came out the villa, it's always been a quick little chirp of having to say something and, you know, speak on other people's relationships and speak on other people's situations, you know, coming out. And I get it, like, the way she was dragged out is not the happy fairy tale ending that she wanted throughout this whole entire experience, so I can sympathize with that. But it's like, for you to say, I came in there for clout, respectfully, you didn't know who I was, like, before coming into this. Like, I've been on, you know, TV shows before. I've been on Jennifer Hudson. I've been on Good Morning America. I've been on, like, Everybody Scream before. So I had all that shit. So for you to say, you know, Ace is looking for clout, you know, honestly, that just speaks to my character being in there, because not once did I mention what I had before the villa. So for you to just think I was there to up my following another million on top of the million I already had, cool.
Did you get any inclination at that time that maybe she was in there for clout over love?
For me, I didn't spend time with her like that every single day, but I did feel like, when she spoke, it was just very, I don't want to say rehearsed, but it's just, that's what it was to me. And, and I knew she was, really feeling Nick, and I know Nick was feeling her, and all I could do was just support that. But for me, it wasn't that.
A lot of other Islanders have expressed that they felt like her maybe pattern of speech or the things she was saying was like kind of pre-rehearsed or calculated.
Yeah, PR.
So it's interesting to hear.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel like that. But again, that could just be her personality, and I can't fault her for that. But to me, it's just not my cup of tea.
In that same challenge, I believe, Huda was asked which one of the Islanders is like waiting for someone else to come in. And she said you.
Yeah.
Essentially, she told you one story.
Yeah.
She told Amaya another story.
Yeah.
Did you find that Huda was dishonest throughout her time in the villa?
Oh no, that was on brand for sure. Like when that came to be, I'm just like, okay, like it is what it is. And it wasn't just me feeling like that. And I hate that it's gonna be the, Ace was talking about that girl. I don't want to say the name respectfully, but like, it's never been that with her. Like, I feel like I've never gotten an honest answer out of her when it comes to a lot of shit. And I feel like a lot of sneak comments being made, I wasn't fucking with. So at the moment, what you're talking about with the pie or cream or whatever, that was kind of crazy. That was crazy.
Pucker or pie?
Pucker or pie, whatever. When it came to the pucker or pie situation, I feel like when she was making this little slick comments the night before about, yo, Ace, I know you don't like to be touched, so give me a high five, like right before bed, knowing that me and Amaya have been arguing all day, it's not adding, any type of help to the situation that I got going on right now. So boom, with her, making that comment of, it was I'd rather kiss you than Amaya and all that, respectfully, it's like that ship has already been sailed. I've been over that whole situation. So the fact that you still trying to insert yourself in everybody else's issues is pissing me off. You know what I mean? Like even Austin had felt some type of way because Huda had took his words about Chelley and transformed it into something else than it was. And it's been multiple occurrences with that. And you just gotta take that on the chin and just watch back the tapes.
People felt like Taylor led Olandria on. As someone who was there firsthand, did you feel that same sentiment? Oh, shit. My dog's squirming. What's up?
Shit. See, the thing is with that situation is, Taylor had faced a lot of influences to have to be in that situation since day one. So I could understand where he was, coming from. As far as Olandria, that's my dog, and I definitely can feel for her, and I understand where she was coming from. And I always found myself having to, help out Taylor when it comes to like putting his best foot forward to try and get to know Olandria in different ways. And as far as Olandria, I understood everything she said, and she was valid for feeling everything that she felt in that villa. And for me, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to help out both of my closest friends at the time. So,
because if I'm understanding correctly, Olandria is your good friend. Taylor's also your good friend. You know how much Olandria is interested in Taylor, and you know how much something or someone or whatever is influencing Taylor to want to be with Olandria. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Yeah, definitely. And I know Olandria definitely really was trying to get to know someone for them. And it sucks that she had to deal with that and get the shit in the stick of that whole entire equation. But, again, Taylor had reached some influences amongst that situation to where he had no other choice.
Did other people, or were other people aware of those influences? Or kind of were you only aware of it because he told you? Like, did Olandria know about those influences?
Olandria did know about those influences, and it sucks because I couldn't tell Olandria about those influences, at that moment in time, because it's just the way the world, spans.
It may feel like I'm jumping around a bit, but I'm honestly just going chronologically.
Yeah.
That's how I I see things better visually
Yeah.
in order.
Yeah.
So Huda pulled you for a chat after something transpired, and she then divulged to you that she was a mother.
Yeah.
Did you know that she was a mom prior to that?
No. Like,
Okay, because some people felt like, oh, maybe he knew already that she had.
my whole thing is with that is like, when you keep reiterating to everybody like, you know, I'm a mom, I'm like, women have babies every day. My mom is a single mom, so I can very much understand where you're coming from. But to me, you came in here knowing you had a kid. Like, that it wasn't as big of a secret as I think it should have been made out to be. Like, if you have a kid, like, you stand on 10 toes, like, yeah, I have a kid, and if you don't like it, get on. Like, people do it every day. And for me, that was the big thing. When she told me that right then and there, I'm like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but, and it's hard to date as a single mom, and I completely get that. I watched my mom date, like, growing up. Like, it's a really, really hard thing to do, especially when you got 2 sons. Like, that's some hard shit right there. Like, I can imagine for a man coming in and seeing her 2 snotty ass kids having something to say about everything. So I get the whole gist of it. But for me, I feel like at that moment in time, it should have been a matter of like, yes, I have a kid, and if anybody don't like it, get on. And I would have gave him way more respect for that aspect of it, but I couldn't understand it.
Huda was then on the chopping block. It was between her and Jalen to get sent home.
Yeah.
It was a Jalen and Huda elimination after like that open door challenge.
Yeah.
And then you guys were then told to stand behind the Islander that you wanted to save.
Yeah.
Some people stood behind Jalen.
Yeah.
You stood behind Huda.
Yeah.
And Huda looked like she appreciated the fact that you stood behind her.
Yeah.
Reached her arm out to like thank you, and you kind of just looked at the hand and shook it off.
And said, hell no.
What happened there?
First things first, a lot of people were under the impression that it was me standing behind Huda because Chelley was cool with Huda, and that's why I want to go. It was not that. I can guarantee you it wasn't that. Again, a lot of influences play on, you know, Islanders being voted off, you know, a lot of influences. And if I had my way, I would definitely pick Jalen to stay.
If what I'm understanding is, if there weren't these influences, you would have voted for Jalen to stay instead of Huda to stay. Was there not a world in which you could have said, I'm doing what I want to do?
You know, that's a tricky subject right there, you know. You could stand on business about certain shit and you not really standing on business at the end of the day, because again, a lot of things you don't have, you know, a big hand on the steering wheel, you know, so.
So whose hand is on the steering wheel?
My conscience.
Your conscience
My
has a hand on the steering wheel. Okay. When you say your conscience, what does that mean, your conscience? Okay. So so how many of the decisions are led by your conscience as opposed to by Ace?
Oh, a lot of decisions. I feel like about majority of every time an Islander is being sent home or being voted off.
Did other people have a conscience in the villa?
Oh, a whole lot of people had a conscience in the villa. I feel like everybody got consciences in the villa.
I have a conscience.
Yeah.
Everyone on the production team has a conscience.
Man, people watching this got a conscience.
Why did you, though, not want to shake her hand?
Because I wanted to make it clear to her it wasn't about her in that moment. Like, it wasn't my choice to, you know, really stand behind you and have your back, because again, it wasn't about you. For me, it was a point to make it that this decision is not about you, and I don't want you to feel any type of, you know, like, oh yeah, Ace is
like
on my
optimism
side.
about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You want it to be clear, like,
exactly.
Yo, it's not what it looks like.
At all. And I feel like the day after she was, you know, screaming and cursing, calling everybody else out their name and stuff, or calling Jeremiah out his name, that's the moment in time where I was like, I don't feel this behavior should be rewarded. But
I see.
Again.
So lastly, though, on the conscious thing, is it difficult, like, okay, from what I've gleaned about you and your persona on the show, you're like a man who's like confident and stands firm on what he believes. Is it tough for you to have to kind of choose between your conscience and who you are and what you actually want to do as a person. Did that get frustrating for you?
It does. It definitely is frustrating because, you know, as a man, I feel like all you have is your word, and what you are saying to people matters. And for me, that was what I battled with throughout this entire season. I'd stand on business about how I'm feeling about certain things. I call shit like it is. I never played, two sides of the fence. Like, I try and see things from both perspectives, but I just give my opinion when it's asked of me to give my opinion. And when I do, I'm not gonna shy away from it. And it gets tough because, you know, influences try and persuade you out of how you are feeling to, you know, try and cater to certain things and certain people and certain things like that. But it's not as easy as people make it out to be.
When an Islander is getting voted off, and the decision is up to their fellow Islanders, can you kind of walk me through how that goes?
Yeah. So, are you speaking in specific to a certain?
Well, yes, but before I ask that, I want to know the context of they say, all right, the decision, one of these Islanders is going home, and it's up to you.
Yeah.
Is what we see that deliberation, is that how it happens?
Right then and there, no. That's not how it happens, but again,
So it's more to the deliberation than just what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's way more. That, for me, this is the most frustrating part about it. It's the fact of, it's a lot more that goes down amongst picking an Islander to go home that people are ever going to get to see and get to witness. And that's the tough thing about it. Like, people think it's just made right there in that moment, and we took 2 minutes to talk about it and get somebody home. It's way more than that. Again, this is television at the end of the day. But it is what it is, and I'm able to take it on the chin and be the main person for someone to go home. Cool. I'll be able to handle that.
So we see maybe like 2 minutes of deliberation.
Yeah.
How long are you guys actually deliberating for?
Anywhere from it could be from around 30 minutes to an hour.
Really?
Of us just going back and forth, just
trying to chop it up and figure it out.
Yeah.
So that brings me to an elimination. And from an honest perspective, it was one of the main criticisms I had of you this season. And that's when Jeremiah got dumped.
Yeah.
I felt like there were other Islanders there, particularly Austin, who maybe had no motion in the villa at the time, who could have very easily gotten voted home instead of Jeremiah.
Yeah.
At the reunion, they showed a clip that kind of showed you still doubling down on the fact that Jeremiah should be the one to go home, and Nick being the one to be like, hey, I think Austin should go home.
Right.
Is what we saw actually how it transpired?
No, not at all. Even at the reunion, they didn't show this. I don't understand why they didn't show it, but again, that's how the world works. But I had said this is not the full clip. You guys are starting this clip at, I think we should send Jeremiah home. We went through the pros and cons of every person, all of us. I said the pros to Pepe Stan, I don't feel he did this, but I feel like he has more pros than cons. Keep Pepe. Went through the cons of Austin. He hasn't did this, he hasn't did that, but I also feel like he hasn't got a chance to get this and get that. Then we went to Jeremiah. After doing all of those things, then they started the clip of, I think we should take Jeremiah home. So it sucks that the full picture didn't get painted right then and there, because again, the reunion is supposed to clear things up. When things aren't being cleared up, that makes me feel some type of way. But regarding the sending home of Jeremiah, a lot of influences are to play, and
some consciousness.
My conscience.
Your conscience.
My conscience, steps in. But I was man enough to admit to Jeremiah, look, bro, I apologize, because again, it's not personal, and I'm trying to get him to understand it's not personal. And we were able to have that conversation of us clearing things up regarding how he got sent home and the differences that we had throughout the season. And we understood where we were both coming from. And actually, me and Jeremiah are super cool, and I hope to do a stream with him. And we were just talking about it last night, we're gonna do some shit, or we can go hoop, we can go do whatever. We super cool now to where we can understand where we're coming from. But I really wanted him to understand that and that experience, that it wasn't an easy decision to just be send him home, or I'm hating on what he got going on. Mm-hmm. It's never been that, trust me.
When I was watching it in real time, I was like, damn, this is some hating shit. They trying to get Jeremiah out the paint because he got motion.
I felt like a hater, and I even said that, and was like, look, this feels like some hating ass shit, respectfully. Yeah, it's television.
But the fact that you said it was some hater ass shit, I'm glad you acknowledged
No,
that.
I know it.
Watching it, I'm like, this is some hater
Watching
shit.
it and going through it felt like some hater ass shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
The deliberation on whether or not to send Jeremiah home was between you, Taylor, and Nick.
Yeah.
At the time, Andrina had just come in the villa as
Right.
a bombshell.
Right.
I'm wondering, is there a world in which someone wanted to send Jeremiah home so that they could get to know Andrina?
All I know is what is being shown to me and what is being told to me. Taylor had came to me on some, yo, Jeremiah is repeating the same cycle again with Andrina. Okay. Sound like Jeremiah, but I'll see for myself, and then if that's my experience, that's my experience. Boom, I'm seeing a little bit of what Taylor is talking about. I'm like, okay, but again, I have my own situation with Chelley. I'm more focused on that. But again, I do peep all the, stuff going down.
So let me ask this in a different way.
Yeah.
Did Taylor want to get to know Andrina?
Yeah, for sure, overly.
Do you feel like he was maybe incentivized to vote to send Jeremiah home to get him out the paint? That way he could focus and lock in on Andrina.
I know he definitely really wanted to get to know Andrina. I'll just leave it at that. I know he did.
What was your experience with Andrina?
My experience with Andrina, the first thing that she had mentioned to me off the first introduction of, she had came down the stairs for the Meg Thee Stallion challenge and gave me a hug. And the first thing she said was, well, I know you don't want to be touched, because, she had already, watched the whole interaction of Amaya. And for me, it sucks, because it was putting me at a disadvantage to get to know different women amongst the house. And when she had made that comment, I was already off of it right then and there. And I know she still wanted to get to know me as well. She had made me smoothies in the kitchen and shit like that. I was like, yo, we gotta chop it up, we gotta get to know each other. But again, I already had Chelley at the end of the day. And I had made that clear at the fire pit that all I wanted was to talk to was Chelley. So coming out this whole experience and to see that, she was participating in comments of, Ace was jealous of what me and Jeremiah had, and he wanted to send us home or send me home, or he wanted to send Jeremiah home, and he was jealous of what we had, and they were haters, quote unquote. But respectfully, I wasn't all the way invested into what you were bringing. And don't get me wrong, she's a gorgeous woman, she's super cool, but that wasn't for me.
One thing I found interesting was during your time in the villa, it seemed like you had strong bonds and strong friendships and strong relationships.
Yeah.
And now it seems to me like amongst the other islanders, people are quick to defend their friends when shit is not actually, like, wait a second, that's my man's or that's my homegirl, and that's not really how it happened.
Oh, let's get into it.
Do you feel that, or is maybe what I'm seeing not accurate?
I feel like throughout my time in the villa, I had catered to a lot of people's, relationships. They would come to me. It wasn't a matter of me going out my way. And sometimes I would go out my way to check on people, but it was always a thing of making sure people are seeing both sides of the situation. Even when they're right, I say, look, you're right. You wrong, you wrong. Like, and that was my whole thing of making sure I'm helping out everybody throughout this experience. Because again, first thing coming into the villa, I wasn't worried about the friendships and all that. I was worried about finding love. But you do develop friendships throughout that entire time.
It's natural.
Exactly. So we're gonna be on the house together for 6 weeks. You're bound to, be friends with some people at some point. So being that's the case, we had all developed a really, really close friendship. And coming out the villa, people see narratives get spent and want to protect their own brand image, which is crazy because I know a lot of things about certain people post-villa, during villa, before villa. You would think you would, have my back about certain shit, but
Because if shit hit the fan,
man, your shit finna hit the fan. But I'm not that type of person to be like, I'm about to go air out everybody's shit just to protect my own ass. But it is what it is. But
you have felt that though, that
Yes.
like people haven't had your back in the
For
way
sure.
that other islanders have had.
For
other
sure,
people's back.
and to me, bro, again, even if I look crazy, knowing that person's narrative got spent wild on the show, I'm gonna stand their character. You know what I mean? Like if I met this person, I was able to get to know them, and they said they did this. Look, someone asked me a question, they did this and they did this. That's from my perspective though. I would expect more people to be like that in this world, but unfortunately that's not the case because again, clout comes into play. You wanna protect everything that you got. Again, I had all that shit. So that's not my main focus. I'm gonna speak on what's real. What's real?
Yeah.
It is what it is, so.
What were your thoughts on Olandria and Nick getting dumped and then being brought back as a couple?
It's funny because I know Nick, you know, had found Olandria attractive day one, and you know when Nick got axed from the villa, and to see that Olandria got axed from the villa and they be coupled up again, my experience with that was, you know, they thought each other were attractive, but it was never going to be more than just friends right then and there, and they were just, you know, it was just going to be cool, you know, and just as time goes on, Sierra gets, you know, dragged out the villa. Now it's a thing where I'm feeling like I have to be catering to know what's going on between Nick and Alandria. What's going on between Nick and Alandria? You know, it's part of, you know, the Love Island, you know, experience. But my last conversation with Nick before I left was, you know, it's, you know, he finds her attractive, she finds him attractive, but they haven't found a romantic spark. And that was my conversation with him throughout this entire experience. He was saying that it was nothing more than a physical attraction, it was just not at that romantic spark level.
Got you.
And, you know, coming out the villa and, you know, seeing that this whole Nick-Alandria thing has been a thing for a while, it's like damn. That's crazy, you know what I mean?
A lot of people on the internet felt as though there was like this brewing underlying romance between Nick and Olandria all along. Like, oh, I saw it. I could tell they were into each other.
Yeah.
As someone who was in the villa, did you see that? Like from the, like, oh, they're gonna end up together, or they really feeling each other?
Nah, because again, like, first week is a little bit hazy. Everybody's trying to get to explore everybody, you know, and that's just that. But as time goes on, didn't nobody really, you know, see a connection brewing from that. And even when Olandria got X from the island and she came over back to the villa, they had doubled down and said, yeah, nah, this ain't that trust. You know what I mean? So just to see all the commotion about it now, I'm like, wow, it's crazy.
Was it Olandria, baby, that didn't see Nick romantically, or was it Nick that didn't see her romantically?
I feel like it was both. Like, I felt like Olandria has been very adamant on telling me what her type is, and like, yo, my type is this. I see myself dating this. You know, I've, you know, experienced dating different, you know, backgrounds and stuff like that. But I knew for a fact Olandria wasn't, you know, going to openly explore that. And I know the same thing about Nick. I know Nick finds Olandria attractive. I know he finds her gorgeous, but she is. Like, don't get me wrong, Olandria is fire, but I know it wasn't that any more than, you know, what it was surface level. Because again, Nick had tested that connection. He said it wasn't enough for him, and he went back to Sierra. And then boom, again, Sierra gets axed, and now that's
He's
a thing.
back with Olandria.
Yeah.
So had Nick ever explicitly told you, yo, I'm interested in Olandria romantically?
No, like it's always been a fact of she's attractive.
Mm-hmm. So what's it like for you now to come out the villa and like Nick-Alandria is like a movement now? As someone who experienced it firsthand, what is your reaction to Nick-Alandria?
For me, reacting to the whole Nick-Alandria thing, I was really happy for Olandria. Like, she had been dealt bad cards throughout that whole entire experience, and just to see her coming out and getting, you know, a sense of happiness, that's what I really cared about throughout this whole entire process. So,
I asked you how you felt about Nick-Alandria, and you say you're happy for Olandria. What about Nick?
Yeah, I'm happy for Nick too. I'm happy for Nick too. I'm happy for both of them. It's just I'm really happy for Olandria because, again, we developed a really close bond in there as well.
Let's talk about the heart rate challenge.
Yeah, let's do it.
The heart rate challenge was a moment that rocked the internet.
Yeah.
It seemed as though we at home did not see the entirety of what happened between you and Huda. There was kissing involved, there was a lap dance involved, there's some capacity, and that's all we saw. And then in the reunion, they showed an extended clip and said, hey, this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
Based on what was shown in the reunion,
yeah,
was that exactly what transpired?
Yes and no. Like, I feel like the clip was sped up a little bit more than what it was made out to be because, again, everybody was looking around for about a good, like, maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds, like, what the hell is going on right now? And don't get me wrong, too, everybody's like, one thing I seen amongst everybody was, why isn't Chelley holding Ace accountable for wilding out in that challenge?
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
Did you feel any, or do you feel any responsibility in that to take accountability for your actions in it?
Yes and no. Like, for sure, amongst that whole entire process, throughout the whole entire season, we have been preaching, it's a challenge, it's a challenge, it's a challenge. And that whole entire challenge was nothing different than what every other challenges was just kissing, trying to be passionate, trying to, do sexy ass shit and all that just to get the points or get the win or whatever like that. So really that was the mindset I was coming from when it came to throughout that whole entire challenge. But then nobody can expect her to just lick from the damn near gooch up to the tip. Like, that shit was crazy as hell to me. You know what I mean? So that's when I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Now, afterwards, everybody's laughing and joking and shit like that. And I'm looking at her and I know she's pissed, and that's where I'm like, damn, like, this shit has become even more than what it's supposed to be. Like, for me, again, I'm looking at it from it's a challenge perspective, and I'm seeing my girl piss. And, obviously, I was pissed too when she had doubled back and did the whole thing with Chris and all that. So, but trust and believe, she held me accountable for like a week straight and was on my ass about that whole entire situation. Y'all ain't see me with a smile for like 4 episodes. Like, it shit was tough, I ain't gonna lie. And then even when we had that conversation at the fire pit as well with all the boys, and again, if anybody's gonna vouch for me, they're gonna vouch for me. If they're not, but they can't say I'm lying. I had told them, look, I was uncomfortable, respectfully. Like, again, nobody can expect her to do some shit like that. So my thing is, I've been preaching boundaries throughout this whole entire experience. And at that moment in time, that's when we had pulled Amaya just to show there's no beef, because I already knew what the narrative was from the outside of different girls coming into the villa saying, oh, he don't like to be touched. We're not gonna touch Ace. We don't want to be involved with Ace. But then they got to know me and it was a different story. So it was the same thing with the heart rate challenge. It was just me just trying to clear up. The problem isn't me being touched. The issue is me just stating boundaries. And at that moment in time, it was uncomfortable as hell. And people can get their heart rate raised from being shocked, surprised, trying to deal with the emotions of his girl right next to him. Like, it's a lot. So it wasn't a matter of me being sexually attracted to Huda. Like, don't get me wrong, the first few days, yeah, I was definitely trying to explore her, just like I was trying to explore everybody else. But I had made it very clear to her day 4, day 5, that this isn't that romantically. So the narrative, Ace enjoyed that, Ace wanted Huda along this whole entire time, has never been that. I've been told her that, and that was my frustration with her, is you keep pushing and feeding into these little narratives of that, oh yeah, I was attracted to Ace. I just had a conversation with you the day before that it's not that and it's never gonna be anything like that. So the fact that you keep pushing this narrative on that I was on you, it hasn't been like that.
One thing I will challenge you on.
Yeah.
You said you felt uncomfortable during. You looked into it.
I looked into it. And don't get me wrong, I was smacking the basketballs and shit. I
looked into it to me.
And I completely get that. I get that. But again, I'm going into it with the mindset of it's a challenge and everybody's just trying to have fun and do that shit. Sure. But again, I completely can see how that looks and why I should be held accountable. But trust me, Chelley done went through all the emotions with me when it got to that.
Huda, coming out of the villa now, is amongst the most popular.
Yeah.
Her follower counts, I think, surpass everyone else who's on the show.
Yeah.
Her fan base is very loyal.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though these friendships that she has outside of the villa with the other Islanders are organic?
I feel, as our time in the villa, everybody went through the same experience, in some shape or form. As far as dealing with Huda, everybody went through the same experience with that. Everybody was adamant on telling their opinions about her. And to come out and everybody sees just a little bit of clout, new friendships form and new things don't want to get spoke on because they don't want to be attacked by a certain fan base. Me, I don't give a damn, respectfully. So if you're gonna speak on something, stand by that in the villa and outside the villa. You don't gotta be friends with anybody to get a, what's the word? Alliance going or allegiance going, with certain Islanders to step your shit up. Honestly, go put in the work and build your own following. You don't gotta be friendly with somebody to, do all that. But that's just me, respectfully.
Based on what you're saying there, what is your relationship with Huda now?
We don't have a relationship, honestly. It's just certain things I don't respect, and I'm guaranteed there's certain things she probably don't respect from me, and we just see it as that. But
what don't you respect?
I just didn't respect how she was moving, as far as either being sneak comments or just, her demeanor and just, certain things. That's just, as a person, I didn't respect it,
I want to talk about your height.
Yeah.
You are How tall are you?
You know, some could argue I'm 6'6", you know, 6'5", you know, things like that. But, you know, I like to keep myself at a humble 5'10".
Okay.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a conversation that took place a lot over the course of the season.
Yeah.
It was like discourse. I even saw videos of people trying to calculate your height.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. They were like, he took a picture on this train platform and based off the measurements of this and this and this and this. What was it like coming out and seeing the reaction to
I will say
your height?
My favorite memes are like the little man memes.
When they shrink you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that shit is comedy. And then I seen one picture, oh my gosh, they had me at the villa and my feet wasn't even touching the floor.
No, I will say, there was a time when you guys sat on the couch, right?
Right.
And I think this part of the couch was so long that it looked like your feet were like this.
Right, yeah.
And they weren't touching the floor.
When people,
and on that couch, that's when you actually look short.
And what people don't understand is some giant ass furniture. Nah, bro, but like, when I see all the memes, I be dying laughing with them. And I save some when I send them to the homies and shit like that again. Like, my favorite meme is like the one with my feet just hanging off the couch.
Just
like,
dangling.
Yeah.
That shit is hilarious.
Right, just dangling and, you know, like damn near off an edge at that point. But I love the conversation because when people see me in person, they're like, damn, they did you wrong on the show, yo.
Like you actually are, Project.
Right, exactly. But again, I encourage all of it because at the end of the day, you still got my name in your mouth and you're still pushing my algorithm. So I appreciate the height conversation.
The premise of Love Island is to find a connection.
Yeah.
To find love.
Yeah.
To find and build a real relationship.
Yeah.
You did that, and then you got dumped from the island.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction to that?
Finally, honestly, like I was ready to go home week 2. And I made that known to everybody that I'm not feeling this whole entire experience. But really, the whole experience taught me how to really form a connection with somebody, go through the ups and downs, and really just take shit head on in relationships. I'm so used to, you know, all right, you're not fucking with me, cool. I'm dipping, you know what I mean, and keep it P. But this whole entire experience taught me how to grow with somebody through the rights, the wrongs, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, you know. And once I found that person who I feel I could share that with, I was ready to go home. I could give a damn about a prize, could give a damn about the recognition. You know what I mean? What we had, it was real. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like the other Islanders felt like the correct couples made the finale?
The conversations have been behind closed doors that certain couples shouldn't have been in the Final Four. And when we get in front of cameras, you know, especially at the reunion, they didn't show this clip, but it happened, is, oh, the Final Four should have been the Final Four. And everybody who got voted to the Final Four should have been there. And, you know, it's crazy because it's supposed to be your friend in the process saying that.
Who said that?
Nick. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So Nick said, oh no, the Final Four that America voted for was the correct Final Four, excluding you and Chelley.
Right.
Interesting.
Which is perfectly fine, but it's like, that's not the conversations that we have behind closed doors.
Right.
And again, we get in front of cameras and
That's not what you said to me.
Exactly.
Do you find that happened frequently with people? Like they would say one thing and then in front of the cameras it would be a different
I feel like
conversation?
majority of the cast though, it was like that. Like I've had people's backs with no loyalty towards these people. I still had your back in the process. And you get in front of cameras and it's either silent or you stand in something else that you know is not what it is behind the scenes, and it's okay.
At some point, it appeared as a viewer that there was a cold sore breakout in the villa at some point. Did that happen?
I ain't get no cold sore.
Did you see cold sores in there?
A couple of them.
How did you, with so much kissing involved, how did you not get one?
How did I not get one?
When I was watching, I'm looking, I'm like, wait a second, what is that there? And then I thought I saw, you know?
Yeah. Shit. You know, for me, again, I'm very clear. I don't give a damn if we on the show. I'm gonna ask you, yo, do you have anything you wanna let me know or stuff like that? But you ain't see no cockroaches around my lips, so.
These are some serious questions.
Cool.
And I'm hoping you're gonna be honest with these.
I've been honest since day one.
Honest is the wrong word. You've been honest, but there are certain things that you've withheld and have spoke carefully about. And these are some questions that I want to give you the opportunity to speak bluntly and openly to the extent that you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Starting with this, Chelley and Olandria were said to have been bullies. That's a narrative that we saw unfold on the internet. I did not see that whatsoever.
Yeah.
You were in the villa, I
Right.
was not. Did you find Chelley and Olandria to be bullies, particularly to Huda?
I feel like throughout that entire time in the villa, Olandria and Chelley held themselves up like the queens that they are. I feel like the black people on this show found themselves being therapists to other people's couples. And that was the toughest thing for me because, again, a lot of the shit I didn't give a damn about to talk with somebody else. Of course I'll care, of course I want to be there for somebody, but I'm here to find my own connection, respectfully. And being that that's the case, I feel like they were put in a situation to where they had to constantly not lash out because they were going to be looked at crazy, but real world, like, this is some lash out type of shit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And for them, I feel like they did the best that any woman or black woman could do, especially like being in that villa, and they held it down, and I would support anything that they do.
So no bullying?
No bullying, none of that.
Do you feel like the narrative that was painted around you, Olandria, and Chelley specifically was the way it was because of your racial identity? Do you feel like because you're a black man, because they're black women, the edits that you guys got was different than your counterparts that are not black?
How do I say this? For me, as a black man, I know I constantly have a target on my back, you know, and I gotta be okay with that. But in this situation, I don't wanna play oh, I'm black, so that's why they're painting me this way, because I don't ever wanna move throughout life like that with the whole victim mentality. But what I will say is it was a lot of consistency amongst, you know, the black couples, amongst, you know, black people in general throughout this whole entire process. And you gotta just take that on the chin. I feel like as black people every day, we take shit on the chin and we just keep the shit moving because that's how we were raised to be. You know, we can't dwell on the past. We can't dwell on what we haven't been given, what we haven't earned, or we have to earn damn near everything in this life. And I feel like we've been doing a good job of trying to keep a cool, level head and not letting anybody getting us bent out of shape, you know.
Olandria revealed on the reunion that she was the target of racial epithets and blatant racism.
Yeah.
She pressed Huda on the fact that Huda did not intervene. Do you feel like Huda could have stopped the racism that Olandria was receiving?
Coming out the villa, I don't be on social media often. But when I do scroll on social media, certain shit will pop up on my For You page. The blatant racism that Olandria had endured and Chelley had endured was completely out of pocket. And the comment section was nothing but Huda this, Huda that, Huda this, Huda that, Huda this, Huda that. And I feel like that with the shit I've seen, Huda has made it a point to stand on business. I remember she had went on a stream. It popped up on my For You page. She went on a stream and she was misinterpreted about kicking some people out of the room. She made a post immediately that wasn't the case to clear her name. You just spent 6+ weeks with these women who are facing backlash amongst racist ass people, and the comments are spamming nothing but your name. If I were you, I would make it a point to be like, look, I don't stand for none of that shit, because you had the capacity to do it, and you've done it time and time before.
But you chose not to do it.
And chose not to. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, she didn't post it, so I feel like that's a sucky way to go throughout life. If my girl had made a post saying, I don't stand for hate, I stand for peace, and same thing with Olandria, I feel like the least Huda could have done was that. She didn't do that. And it's okay, but again, that's where I feel like they were right to separate themselves from Huda and that friendship and just let it be what it is from a distance.
Today, as Ace, who would you consider to be your friend from the villa?
Who I consider to be my friend is the people who support me out loud and not
who are
behind
those
closed
people?
doors. Olandria, obviously me and Chelley more than friends, and Taylor.
That's it.
Brian calls to check in on me from time to time to make sure I'm straight, and that's it.
So me asking you who your friends are, and you name Olandria, Taylor, and maybe Brian. The glaring omission there is Nick.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like me and Nick are cool, but like to say we are super, super close, like we were in the villa, it's not the case, you know, because again, certain instances, I take a look at it for what it is. Coming out this villa, I seen a lot of people not stand behind what they say and let narratives continue to spin. The people who stood on what exactly happened in the villa after having all the conversations said today to when this interview drops, this is who my current people who are close to me. I respect Olandria, I respect Chelley, I respect Jeremiah, I respect Brian, and I respect Taylor. I'm not super close with everybody like that coming outside the villa because I just see certain things on the internet which I don't respect. And I know you probably about to ask me about the whole Nick is not a part of that equation. It's just, again, certain things I don't rock with. I feel like if you're my friend behind closed doors, you're gonna be my friend in public.
Sure. And
again, we all have fun, we joke, we troll. I seen he did a whole tattoo thing, funny as hell. But when it comes to the serious shit regarding my character, that's the things I take serious.
And you feel like he didn't stand up for you and or silence narratives when he had the opportunity.
And I told him that. I told him, I said, yo, I feel like the answer that you gave was just mad PR and I didn't respect it. And he was like, well, I'm pretty much over it. So I was like, okay, cool.
He said, I'm pretty much over it?
Yeah, I'm pretty much over the whole thing. Like, so like for me, this is my life, respectfully.
Right, it's not something for you to just be over when I'm receiving these narratives and it's then gonna dictate what my future looks like and he's just over it.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you feel like Olandria and Nick's relationship is real? Is this you thinking, or is this your answer? I'm gonna assume that that's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that tough for you because Olandria is someone that you consider to be a close friend?
Yeah, it really is tough for me because again, she just came out here for Chelley's birthday and we all spent a time together at the club and we all kicking and shit like that. So I have a lot of respect for Olandria. But again, from the last conversation that I've had with, Nick, it was a matter of it's not a romantic spark. They just, you know what I'm saying? They find each other attractive.
Nick-Alandria's relationship, you've expressed in silence, you've expressed your opinions on that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the other relationships that have come from Love Island are real?
Yeah, Taylor and Clark, I know that's for sure real.
And the other ones, not so much, or? Do you think people are aware of the benefits to being in a relationship coming out of
100%. I feel like when people come out this villa and they see, a certain community rocking behind, certain, ships, they're like, okay, let's take advantage of that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you're gonna face yourself in a world of problems, i.e. breaking up,
sure.
i.e. Arguments, i.e. now you got to put on the front for the public like you rock with your partner still and you want to go explore other people in real life, you know what I mean? So that's on them that they're going to have to face at the end of the day, but I don't move like that, and that's why I was very intentional with my time in the villa because I knew, obviously coming outside, people are going to have opinions on relationships, so I'm going to be very, very, very intentional behind finding this relationship.
Coming out of the villa now, you and Chelley seem to be in a very happy situation.
Yeah.
Is it safe to call that a relationship? Is that your girlfriend?
Not yet. But the thing is, when people was, going back and forth of Ace is scared of commitment, he's too young, yada, yada, yada. First off, number one, I feel like the whole age conversation is silly as fuck to me because I feel like I've been through a lot of shit that not the average child is gonna go through. Mm-hmm. And it causes you to mature a little bit faster in this life. And respectfully, it's not other people's relationships, so they can mind their own damn business. Then on top of that, as far as me asking her to be my girlfriend, I've never been pressed by no nigga, never been pressed by any woman in his life to do something I don't want to do. Unless we talk about my time in this experience, you know what I mean? But
unless your conscience was
unless my
talking.
conscience, you know what I mean, was talking. But that's just been my MO, so I don't feel the need to have to come to whatever everybody else is saying to do. Yeah.
What now, Ace? What now? The Love Island experience, I'm sure, based on how it seems you went through this, you're ready for this chapter of your life to be over. It seems. But what now? What's next for Ace?
Honestly, what's next for me is putting God first, which I've always done throughout my whole entire life, so I could have an idea of what I want to do as far as acting, modeling, working with certain brands, giving back to my community, and still keeping those same values I had before going on to the show. Whatever God has planned for me, that's what I want to do. And whatever my path aligns with him, then we finna do.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
My last thing, and you can be honest, do you regret going on the show?
I don't regret my experience with Chelley. That's what I don't regret, is learning how to date someone outside of social media, ups and downs, things like that. I don't regret that portion of it. Everything else, 1,000%.
Is it, why?
Because for me, I wanted to go into this experience of, again, for me, throughout this whole entire experience, I didn't look at this as some type of show to go on. I look at this as a dating experience. And sometimes you forget while you're out in Fiji, it's a show. And they try and get you to get out that mindset of what's going on back home, what's going on in this thing, because at the end of the day, the chick has to be entertained. I didn't sign up for the entertainment portion of it. I signed up to get to know someone full through and through. And to come out this experience and see, again, that wasn't the main focus. It was mainly focused on drama, and I felt like that being in there. I said, like, why do I always feel like I'm amongst this drama shit? Like, I don't even care enough to be in this conversation. I don't even care enough to talk about someone else. But again, a lot of influences come to play, and when that's the case, I don't feel this is authentic to me. And I've been authentic since day one. Coming into there, I'm gonna be unapologetically me throughout this whole entire experience. And can't nobody in that villa who was actually there say Ace was faking it for this, Ace was faking it for that, because they know my character. I have no problems apologizing to people. I have no problem standing on business, admitting, like, look, I was wrong about this, and this is how shit should go now. I have no problem speaking my mind. That's all I'm saying. And I don't have no problem speaking on the real. And it seems like America had a problem with that. Me just speaking on what it is. Fuck them. It's like when they asked me to come on this show, they knew everything that they were getting. They were getting a confident person who stands on business and expresses himself very clear and concise, and who's on here for the right reasons. Because you couldn't claim that I was on here for anything else. Looking at my portfolio,
right?
You can't. So being that that's the case, to see coming out that it was the complete opposite of my character, knowing that you asked me to be here, I feel some type of way, especially when, I'm the one helping with the chats. I'm the one getting everybody excited for challenges. I'm the one ringleading around this, you know what I mean? Like that hurts. And I'm facing a little bit of, anxiety every single day, trying to make sure my family is straight. Damn about me, making sure they're straight. They get threats and emails at work and messages and shit that they don't deserve, that they didn't sign up for.
Right.
I signed up for this knowing what possibly could be the outcome, and I was okay with it. Like, but it's still not to say I'm not a human at the end of the day. Like, certain shit will affect me, but that just adds to my testimony and who I am as a person. So I'm with all the growth throughout this experience.
I just want to let you know, like, objectively, I feel for you.
Thank you.
And whenever you say an opinion, 50% of the world is going to disagree with you off the rip.
And I'm okay with that.
And so even after watching this, like, some people may still feel like, I still don't fuck with them.
Agreed.
And that's realistic to happen, but
that's life though, Speedy.
Yeah,
to me, I can state my opinion. Just let me be able to, that's life. And I understand that. And I'm grateful that I'm here. And throughout this, right now, this interview with you, that the full thing is going to be told.
Sure.
That's all I ask for, is let the full picture be shown so people can understand where I'm coming from. If you disagree, completely understand.
Right.
Everybody has assholes, everybody has opinions. It is what it is, you know what I mean? So.
But you're just saying, if you're going to judge me, watch the full thing.
Right.
And if you still don't agree with me, then fine.
That's
at least it
cool.
was a fair observation. But at least give me a fair shake.
And I feel like I got my fair shake
Yeah.
amongst full opinions, especially when narratives are still being pushed, by my fellow Islanders when they didn't have that energy when I was there. That's what hurts my feelings. But again, that's life. as people, Clout is a motherfucker. And me, that's been my whole personality. I ain't never been an internet ass nigga, respectfully. Like, I've been a person who's does social media, but that's not my personality. And when you see me in real life, come holler at me. I've never been a person who's like on some ego shit. Like, everybody can say, whoever's met me, I ask them what their name is. Nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Like, we have real conversations on the pull-up if you want to. I've never been a person who's let, quote unquote, clout get to my head or let fame get to my head, because that's just not me. Like, the internet can love me tomorrow and hate me the very next day, and I'm walking testimony of that. I feel like my entire life before the villa, everybody just forgot everything that I've done. Go check my portfolio and what I've done. And that shit is for free, out the kindness of my heart, because I just love doing what I do. When that is just excused and saying Ace is a hater, Ace is this, Ace is a ringleader, Ace is a bitch, I would never fuck with Ace, and yada, 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 and I only got my own Islanders backing me up, knowing that wasn't the case there, hurts my feelings. But again, it's back to real life. Excuse the Hollywood shit, and I'm gonna be me regardless, and I will for sure not let my fate be determined by someone else's hands.
Damn.
And that's gonna be is what it is.
That's real. That was a word right there. Yeah. Ace, I appreciate you, man.
Nah,
congrats.
Thank you, Speedy. I appreciate you.
Best of luck. I'm glad we got to do this. You said you wanted your full story to get told. This is that opportunity. So I hope you feel good about, everything that you got to get off, and I'm glad you came and sat down with us instead of going some other places.
Yeah. They're gonna have to pay me now.
Y'all, just want to give a big shout out to Crown Royal Whiskey for powering this episode.